J Nation, how's it going today? It is time for another edition of 5 on 5. I'm your host, Jen Piacenti, and I am thrilled to be joined today by none other than my radio brother, Justin Fensterman. Finsty, how's it going today?
What's going on, sis? How's everything? Is it Friday already?
It's not Friday. That's what's crazy about this. You know, we get to spend all our time together on Fridays, but I don't usually get to talk to you that much during the week. And I'm the co-host on Friday. You're the lead. You're the host of that show. You're the star of Alarm After Hours. But today, I get to ask you a lot of questions. So the tables are turned, and I'm super, super excited about it because, let's face it, we know you've got a lot of opinions and a lot to talk about, and it's going to be a lot of fun.
Absolutely. And, I'm a little bit nervous. If you notice me sweating right here, it's because, who knows what you're going to ask me? Jen, how to make me tick. You know how to make me smile. I feel like I have to play defense at this point, and I have to be fully focused here. So I'm a little bit nervous about this.
It's okay if you smile. Smiling is approved, allowed, and encouraged. But only on Friday nights or on our episode, not during the rest of the week. So the way that this works for anybody watching at home is I'm going to give Justin Fensterman 5 questions. He is allowed 5 minutes to say whatever he wants on this subject. Whether I agree, disagree, doesn't matter. It is his 5 minutes to do with whatever he wants. But at the end of 5 minutes, he's going to hear a beep that sounds something like this. And then he has to stop talking. Also, if he doesn't use his 5 minutes, then he opens up the floor for me to ask him really anything I want. So sometimes that's fun, though. So we'll see what happens. Are you ready to do this?
Let's dominate.
All right. I'm going to go right in for question number 1. So obviously there's a lot of talk now because of the documentary, The Last Dance, which I'm sure you're watching and you love. But I need to know, who's the GOAT? MJ or LeBron James?
I can't believe you started with this one. Now I'm really going to be sweating. My eyes are going to be boiling red soon enough because I'm sick and tired, Jen, of getting this question asked for of me on Twitter, seeing it all the time. And I feel like because everybody's bored, because they're quarantined, they're trying to think of things in their head to try to make like Michael Jordan isn't the greatest of all time. And I'm tired of it. And it ends right now. LeBron James is a great player. I love LeBron James. People don't like him because he wins a lot. And that's what's good. But LeBron James, his comp is more Magic Johnson. I think Kobe is closer to Jordan than LeBron James is. Now, do I think that Kobe's better than Michael Jordan? Hell no. Absolutely not. Michael Jordan is an all-encompassing player. He by himself paved the way for the Kobe Bryants of the world, paved the way for the LeBron Jameses. And the reason that is because he is the total two-way player that you want on your team. People forget, Jen, this guy wasn't only a multi-time MVP, all-star, champion, 2 3-peats. Did Kobe have 2 3-peats? Asking you, Matt Sells. Nah, brah. But when it comes to Michael Jordan, it's more than just that. He was also a defensive player of the year, 1 scoring titles. This guy was an MVP 4 years into his career because he was that darn good. This is the same timing in 1988 when Larry Bird was there, when Magic Johnson was still in his prime. So you can't say that Michael Jordan was all of a sudden given the keys to the kingdom. He took the keys to the kingdom. His attitude, his persistence. He says he doesn't have a gambling problem. He has a competition problem. And I fully believe that. That's one of the many things that we've learned from that documentary, The Last Dance. And it's been excellent. And for some reason, all of you negative Nancys out there have to find a reason to take Michael Jordan out of that number 1 spot. The reason why Nike is as huge as it is because of Michael Jordan. Shoe brands. Who was Nike? Nike was an upstart at that point. Nike wasn't anything. It was all about Adidas at that time. It was all about that. And what happened? He comes in and all of a sudden he brings Nike within 1 year, his rookie year, he brings Nike up. What about his second year? So what happens his second year? Breaks his foot, misses most of the season, comes back and drops 63 points. 63 3 on what's supposed to be the greatest Celtics team of all time. And Jen, I'm sorry if I'm scaring you, but I'm very fired up about this. It's not just about the championships. It's about the attitude. And again, he won Defensive Player of the Year for a reason. He has numerous accolades. This guy left basketball for a year and a half to pursue a career in baseball. Why? That's controversial, but it doesn't matter. He comes back, and the year after he comes back, okay, 95, they lose to the Magic in the second round. The following season, 72 wins. 72, which wasn't beaten until the Warriors had to put together a super team of Curry, Thompson, Draymond, Kevin Durant, everything in order to do that. But when it comes to Michael Jordan, at the end of the day, yes, he was a one-man show in the 80s. Yes, he got beat by the Pistons. They had to create the Jordan rules. If they were playing this now, those guys would have all fouled out. Back then, they were knocking him on the ground, and he wasn't the one sitting out in Game 7 in 1990 with a migraine, despite getting his butt kicked every single game, knocked on the floor multiple times a game. That was Scottie Pippen. Michael Jordan was always in there. The flu game, Michael Jordan was always in there. This guy could play an entire great game of basketball after playing 18 holes of golf. That's how good Michael Jordan is as an athlete in general. He's a generational athlete, and he puts that competition above anything with everything he does. He was my idol growing up. He taught me the essence of always dominate, no other option, because that's what he did. Everyone could have been against him because that's what happens. When you're on the mountaintop, people don't enjoy you on the mountaintop. You'll become the hunted. People want to take you off because that's how it is. You're at the top of the food chain. And still to this day, everybody is saying that LeBron James is better than Michael Jordan. Not everybody, but there's a certain contingent. And it's not true. As good as LeBron James is, and as much as he can carry a team, Michael Jordan was more sound defensively. LeBron James, just as athletic. Michael Jordan, more sound. LeBron had a bit more size on him. Michael Jordan was able to play above the rim every time, helping out, blocking shots, blocking centers like Patrick Ewing, taking championships away from some of his fellow dream teammates like Karl Malone, Patrick Ewing, who I just mentioned, John Stockton. I could keep going down the list. And that's who Michael Jordan is. He never gives up. He can get knocked on the ground 1,000.
So it's safe to say that Fenstey definitely believes that MJ is the GOAT.
Yes, that's right.
Okay. That was my instinct as well. I don't have the NBA depth of knowledge that you do, but to me, I'm like, the guy made Nike. He made swoosh. He made Air Jordans. You call them your Jordans, your Air Jordans. I don't remember such a cultural phenomenon. I remember when Michael Jordan came out and he was such a big deal. Like, it was just like he could swoosh, he could dunk, he'd do it. And I loved watching Air Jordan. So, yeah. But now to have it from the expert, Now, one thing a lot of people may not know about you, Fenstey, is you are actually a bit of a health nut in certain ways. And you do have certain foods and strategies for staying fit and healthy. And I'm wondering if you could give us maybe some food ideas, some tips for how to stay healthy during our quarantine.
Yes, and saying, by the way, that quarantine and using it as an excuse, that's not fair. You should not be doing that. In fact, now we all have that challenge because we're home the entire time to make sure that we're eating properly, that we're not getting COVID-19. And while, yes, we got to wear our masks and we got to make sure that we're not going into too many public places or standing next to people that are without masks at home, you have to protect yourselves as well, getting plenty of sleep and also eating right. Now, for some people like yours truly, who's been working from home for the last 6 months, I put on some pounds. Bender called it. He said it. He was right. Yay, Howard, you were right about that. I did put on some weight. But then did that stop me? No, I looked in the mirror and I said, that's it. As someone who was on Weight Watchers multiple times, some of the foods that you can eat will eat away at your body. If you are looking to lose weight, and I talked to Jen, our friend Tony, about this as well. Number one, egg whites. You have to eat breakfast. Let's start and talk about breakfast. A lot of people don't eat breakfast, and I really don't know why. Because if you read anything regarding nutrition, it's that you shouldn't be eating late at night right before bed. You should be eating most of your calories and then stopping so your metabolism can keep running. Now, there are some people who are bulking up that'll say you need to keep eating so your metabolism keeps running. And that's fine. But are you going to eat an apple at midnight? What are you really eating at midnight? I'm not eating an apple at midnight. At midnight, I'm opening those nacho cheese Doritos and I'm dipping my disgusting hand, properly washed actually, into that. And I'm taking a bunch out, putting them in there with Parmesan cheese crisps. So in order not to do that, I need to eat most of my calories before 7 p.m. Eastern time. And with that, it becomes a lot of egg whites. Egg whites are so lean. And the reason why I found egg whites is because for most of my life, I was allergic to egg yolk. I eat scrambled eggs, I break out in hives. Can I eat cookies? Yes. Somehow my immune system is so weird that when it's mixed into something, it wouldn't impact me. If I had scrambled eggs, though, I'd break out in hives everywhere. Before you know it, I'd be on a diet of Benadryl. That is not ideal. So when it comes to egg whites, they are so lean and they are hardly any calories. So much protein. You got to get that protein into your diet so your fat burns to muscle or changes and transitions to muscle. Egg whites are the key to victory. You need to get, and you can put them in smoothies. You could put them as an egg white omelet. You could scramble them up. And what's good about egg whites is when you're making an egg white omelet, like I'm very good at making egg white omelets, you can put a lot of veggies in them. You want some sauce? Put some salsa on them. Salsa is 0 calories. Why have things like queso and all that kind of stuff, heavy yogurts and puddings and all that? Just put some salsa on your egg whites. So that's something I do. You like bacon? Jen, are you a bacon girl?
I love bacon. Yeah, I'm totally a bacon girl.
Well, let me give you a little bit of a bacon substitute. Turkey bacon. It makes a world of difference. There are turkey bacon out there where one strip is 25 calories. So if you have, and you need the protein anywhere, you can't fully deprive yourself. Dieting is all about portion control. I have a day, and I've been very strict now for the last 3.5 weeks. Saturdays, that's my day to eat unhealthy. And normally I have a very fattening dinner, but I am waking up the next day doing something physical and getting right back on that train, because you can't deprive yourself, because once you get that taste of that chocolatey goodness, all of a sudden you're going to want it more and more and more, and it's going to throw you off. By giving yourself that option, that one day, once a week, you're giving yourself a little exposure. So egg whites and turkey bacon will eat your core. You will start losing weight like no other, and you'll be filled. So something else you can have, guacamole as well, or avocado. Forget guacamole. That takes a little bit longer to make. Avocado. Have half an avocado with it. People say, oh, avocado is good fat. That's true. It is good fat. And yeah, you're thinking, no, fat's a bad thing, right? It's good as well. It helps keep the body moving, gives you more protein. That's what it comes down to. Jen, are you a pasta girl?
I am a pasta person. I'm Italian.
So instead of having spaghetti, and yeah, you can say whole wheat pasta, have spaghetti squash, because it's not about the noodles. It's about the sauce. If you have a nice marinara sauce, I dip vegetables in marinara sauce. I love marinara sauce. I put it on my sandwiches that I have on lettuce, by the way, not bread. So I eat it animal style. If you're an In-N-Out burger fan out west Coast, stand up. So when
Wow. You have serious health tips.
Yes.
So
I'm very into it.
I'm feeling like you're in the more like high protein, low carb camp.
Yes, because Jen, unfortunately for me, I'm someone that has a lot of mass. I've struggled with weight my entire life. Weight doesn't come off. I have friends that have been 120 pounds for their entire lives. I'm not that person. When I eat something, I gain. So I've been battling weight issues my entire life, and that's the only way to conquer it.
So, I mean, I'll fess up and tell you a true story. I was getting kind of chunky in college, and I read a book about how to eat, like a 40-30-30 kind of diet, which is essentially a zone diet. And I lost 30 pounds, and then I never really gained it back. Maybe 5 pounds here and there, but because I trained myself how to eat and how to think, and of course, I do a lot of strength training. So once you boost your muscle tone, you burn more calories even at rest, which I'm doing way too much resting right now. But yeah, so I do believe that it's true that if you can kind of change the way you think about things, it just gets easier. It feels natural and you don't feel deprived at all.
Right. And that's the thing. If you put it all into the breakfast, Jen, you'll be filled for a lot longer.
All right. So that was fun. Everybody go buy turkey bacon and egg whites immediately and avocado. Come on. All right. I think we're going to have to move on to. All right. Let me ask you this. Kendrick Nunn from the Miami Heat said he deserves the Rookie of the Year over Ja Morant because records should matter most. And I have a feeling you have an opinion on this one. So let her rip.
Kendrick Nunn, I'm talking to you right now. I'm looking you dead in the eye. And you could look right into probably my bloodshot eyes because I've been so passionate talking to Jen here. You had an excellent start. You had a perfect opening at the start of the season. Jimmy Butler wasn't with the team. So you came in there, you substituted in, and the Heat had such a minutes restriction at the time because they were afraid that Goran Dragic's knee was going to detach at any moment that they played you more minutes. You had the path cleared for you in that regard. You did great. And for the first month and a half of the season, you were the Rookie of the Year. But then after that, what happened? Jimmy Butler came back. And while you were still good and a good scorer, you started turning the ball over. You started hitting that rookie wall just a little bit. Other players started demanding the ball a little bit more. Players like Duncan Robinson, who hit 3 after 3 after 3. So when you didn't have your little scoring together, all of a sudden it was like, okay, what else can this guy do? You weren't as good of a passer as Goran Dragic. That's why Goran Dragic was able to remain in that rotation and slowly pick up more and more minutes. And also, as a fantasy asset, too, because we are fantasy alarm, Goran Dragic remained fantasy relevant because you weren't that good of a passer. You have tremendous speed. Your shooting was good to start the season, and then it started to taper off a bit. And that's where Ja Morant, who had to carry the sad Memphis Grizzlies team on his back, that's where he showed more than what you could do. This guy is an excellent driver. Not only is he one of the best drivers of the rookie class, he's one of the best drivers of the league. He's become the toast of the league this year. He's become that guy. And not because he's just flashy. It's because he finishes plays. He doesn't turn the ball over as much. He has so much fight in him. And he has the exact same amount of speed that you do. And he doesn't have a Jimmy Butler to take defensive pressure away. What? Guys like Jonas Valanciunas, Jaren Jackson Jr.? That's a freaking joke. The fact that this team in the Western Conference is in the 8th spot, if the NBA goes right to the playoffs, they're in. You're in too. But at the same time, did you expect the Memphis Grizzlies to be close? Yeah, they might be under 500, but so what? The East has 2 teams under 500 as well. It happens. These conferences can be top heavy. And all the last few months, I would hear Zion this and Zion that. And Zion Williamson is not the Rookie of the Year. He didn't play enough games. And that wouldn't be fair if they gave it to him. So Ja Morant has had to deal with that kind of crap for the last few months. And then you come out and say that it should be based off record? Record? Are you kidding me? Rookie of the Year. And so you should win it because the Heat have a better record. The Heat don't have a better record because of you. The Heat have a better record because of Jimmy Butler, because of Bam Adebayo, because they have a bunch of complementary players that can take them a round or two. It's not because of you. You were along for the ride. You were the guy for the first month there while Jimmy Butler was dealing with his drama and health as well. Yay! But then what happened? When the big guy came back, you didn't do anything. Ja Morant stayed constant, and Memphis has lost player after player to injury, and he still stayed consistent. He was even out. And he came back, and he was still dominant as soon as he came back. He's slowly improved his shooting. What did you improve on, Kendrick? What? Nothing. You were the same guy turning the ball over, and Ja Morant was so much more of a complete player. He deserves the Rookie of the Year, not you. You think you're second best rookie? That's probably Zion. You think you're third best rookie? See what R.J. Barrett has done over the last couple of months of the season and see what you've done. Yes, Jen.
Can I ask a question?
Always.
So, based on what you just said, I'm thinking that maybe you're in this camp for baseball as well. So it always comes up at the end of the year, like, does Mike Trout deserve the MVP? Because his team sucks. They're no good, as opposed to DJ LeMahieu or Alex Bregman or someone on a winning team. How much do you think it matters? Because to me, my argument has always been, yeah, well, Mike Trout's team would be a lot worse than they are without him. He literally is the most valuable player on that team. How do you feel about it? Do you think it should go to the team that is winning, that's on a streak, or by stats?
Not necessarily, and even more for baseball, where it's more of an individual sport. I think that actually works to Mike Trout's benefit even more. I mean, baseball is a lot about the individual pitcher versus batter rather than the team. Yes, when one player gets on base, but let me ask you this, if you have two players on and you have a good hitter with speed up and you are down by 1 run in the 8th inning, you might take the bat out of his hands if you're a manager. You might have that player bunt. And that player might get thrown out, but might get the purpose of advancing the runners. Mike Trout would never really have to bunt. You're not going to do that. But just saying, it's so individual in baseball, whereas in basketball, it's making the team better. And that Memphis Grizzlies team has had to fight off 3 other teams in order to keep their 8th seed. And they played better.
All right.
You got me fired up, Jen.
As usual. Yeah. Well, I'm about to get you really fired up with this next one. Are you ready? Are you ready to get fired up? And the reason I know you're going to get fired up is because I saw your Willy Wonka rant. In fact, I hope all of you saw his Willy Wonka rant. But now I've got to tee another one up for you. Who is the real Minnesota Miracle Man in the movie The Mighty Ducks?
Not Charlie Conway. Ooh, can you believe that Fency just said that? How dare I speak that poorly about the Ducks captain, right? Wrong. It's not Charlie Conway. The Ducks, and we're going to span through the 3 movies, the trilogy here of the Mighty Ducks for me to explain this point. Because right here, as you see, I have a Mighty Ducks jersey, not District 5, Mighty Ducks. What number's right here? 99, not Charlie Conway. He was 96. Adam freaking Banks gets no respect whatsoever. Let's talk about why. Yes, I know. Adam Banks in the first movie, he was with his Hawks buddies because the Hawks were the best team in town. I get that. They were the #1 team in the Pee Wee Hockey League in Minnesota. And he was the reason why. He was the best scorer in the league. And so he was with his Hawks buddies. And yes, the only thing he said during the bullying was that Carp's magazine would make great bathroom reading. That's all he said. It was Larson and Miguel. They did the real bowling from those Hawks players on the Ducks. And then what happened? Towards the middle of the movie, Coach Bombay, in a loophole situation, finds out that the lake was not the boundary anymore and that where Adam Banks lived should put him on the Ducks and not the Hawks. Adam Banks had a choice, and it was up to him to make that choice because his dad says it in the movie. Adam Banks' father said, my son would rather not play than play for your team. Did Adam Banks sit out the rest of the season for the Hawks? He could have. So what? He would have been back the next year, and he would have dominated next year with the Hawks. They would have redrafted the lines, and he would have been with the Hawks. No, he did not do that. Instead, he showed up the next day for practice, and everybody on the Ducks hated him. Jesse Hall especially, example he is, setting him up for disappointment every time, not passing him the puck. And Adam Banks still showed up. Adam Banks showed up, and everybody walked out on him, and he stuck around because at the end of the day, it was about playing hockey. And he said that, I just want to play hockey. So all of a sudden, during that time, coincidence, the Ducks start to improve, right? They go from not being able to win a game, losing by goal after goal, to all of a sudden tying games, winning games. But no, it wasn't a quick transition because the Ducks didn't trust him. And he was calling for the puck. He was open. They wouldn't pass it to him. Once they did, he started scoring goals. He started helping them win. He helped them clinch the playoffs. It wasn't only about the goals, but he put the pace of the team so much higher that it was he made players on his team better than what they were beforehand. Not Charlie Conway. What was Charlie Conway doing? He was swinging and missing at pucks and then slipping and falling and hitting his head right into the wall because there was nothing else he could do at the time. He was a spaz for a reason. And yes, he was the coach's pet. I get that. But that doesn't matter. Adam Banks won them the quarterfinals against the Hornets. Adam Banks defeated the Cardinals in the semifinals. And then what happens in the finals? He goes up against his former team. He could have taken a dive. I'm sure his friends, they didn't say it in the movie, could have went to him and said, screw this team. Just lose. Help us win. But instead, with all of his pride, he went after the Hawks. And his best friend Miguel knocks him from behind. His head hits the goalpost. He manages to score on the play. So the penalty shot situation we're going to get to at the end of the one doesn't happen if Adam Banks does not score when he gets pushed down to the ground, head hitting the post, stretchered out of the game. But then here's the thing. Charlie Conway all of a sudden comes in to pick up the bones. He hits the penalty shot with Gordon Bombay's triple deke. And all of a sudden, yay, Charlie. He didn't do anything for that team beforehand. And I can't take that. Because then if you go to the next movie, he sacrificed his spot because Adam Banks got hurt because Iceland had to hurt him because they knew that Adam Banks could beat him. So they hurt him. They smacked his wrist after he scored a goal and he was out for a while. Charlie Conway sacrificed his spot, not just to be Mr. Good Guy. It's because he knew he couldn't hold a candle to Adam Banks. Adam Banks was so much better of a hockey player. If Team USA was going to beat Iceland, Adam Banks had to be out there. That's the bottom line. And in the third one, when Gordon Bombay tells Charlie Conway, who is at this point rebelling against his coach, Coach O'Ryan, and then quits on his own team, walking out on anyone, he comes back because Gordon Bombay tells him that he's the real Minnesota Miracle Man.
Wow, I was right on that one. That one did get you fired up.
No one talks about Banks, Jen. No one talks about him.
I mean, Banksy for the win, huh? He's the real Minnesota Miracle Man.
He was the best Pee Wee hockey player in the world. Write it, report it, tweet it. You heard it here first.
Done. The best Pee Wee hockey player in the world, Banks. Okay. All right, Justin, I got one more for you. Are you ready?
Always.
So as you know, Justin is the host on Sirius XM of Fantasy Alarm After Hours, and we have a lot of fun. We play drinking games, we play darts, we play all kinds of things like this. But you do have 3 different co-hosts. And so my question to you is, which drink would you buy each of your Alarm After Hours co-hosts?
So this is a little bit more complex because some of my co-hosts don't really like alcoholic beverages, so I took the liberty of giving them an option. So I picked an alcoholic beverage and a non-alcoholic beverage. And let's start with you, Jen, because you're awesome. Oh, you're the 1 seed. Thanks. So with that, you can tell Ronas that, I don't care. You're getting a Shirley Temple. I love Shirley Temples so much. And it just makes sense. Shirley Temple sang and danced. Jen Piacenti sings and dances. It's a perfect marriage and a perfect drink for a perfect co-host like yourself. But Jen, you're probably wondering, let's say you and I are hanging out. We're out on the town, just having fun, going bar hopping. You're like, man, I love Shirley Temples. I wish I could turn this into a drink. I got you. A dirty Shirley. That's what it's called. You take your Shirley Temple with the cherry juice, the 7-Up or Sprite mixed in with the cherries in there, the Marciano cherries or whatever they're called, and you put a little vodka in it. I don't know what they're called. You put a little vodka in it, you stir it up, and just like that, you have an alcoholic Shirley Temple. Jen, that is my go-to drink. I love Dirty Shirleys, and I would love it so much to be able to share them with you and buy you about 2 or 3 of them, and we'll be feeling nice.
It's going to happen. We're going to put that on the calendar. Hopefully, once we are out of quarantine, we're going to try to enjoy a Dirty Shirley. Yes.
Yes. All right, let's go to Howard Bender. Howard Bender. Now, Howard Bender also doesn't really have much when it comes to alcohol. And you know me, I love my White Claws. And Howard was making, because that's what Howard does. He makes fun of people. So Howard was making fun of me about my White Claws and all that kind of stuff. Until I believe it was one of the events that you were at, Jen. He had a White Claw. And
we had the first White Claw together, indeed.
And all of a sudden, the guy was singing a very different tune because of that. And now all of a sudden, the guy like White Claw, when he broke his foot, what did he ask his wife to get him? White Claw. That's what. So I am buying Howard Bender a black cherry White Claw, because black cherry, there's no debate here, is the 1 seed. I don't want to say GOAT, but is the 1 seed of White Claws. I love black cherry White Claws, and I would love nothing more than to share black cherry White Claws with Howard Bender. But Jen, Howard Bender is a hardworking man. Might not have time to enjoy a White Claw, which is alcoholic.
True.
So thinking of a non-alcoholic beverage for him, I got it. I could see Howard kind of being a Lunchables guy. Why not get him a Capri Sun Pacific Cooler juice box? I think Howard Bender would have that and then have about 5 more after that. And I would love nothing more than to watch the movie My Cousin Vinny with Howard Bender drinking Capri Sun Pacific Coolers and eating Lunchables with that man.
I think I would like to be invited to that party too.
You're always invited, Jen. Make the party that much better. Finally, let's go to Adam Ronis. Now with Ronis, who one day, when you ask Adam Ronis, because I try to do drinking segments on the show, and really you would think from what little he says that he would only drink Hennessy. But one thing I know about Adam Ronis is that the guy loves dessert. He loves chocolate.
Oh, so really?
I have to go back to my roots. What was Justin Fensterman's first alcoholic beverage that he ever had? A White Russian. But for Adam Ronis, I'm going to give him a Black Russian, a little bit more Kahlua for him in there. He's got a little coffee flavoring. But, Jen, because Adam Ronis loves chocolate more than just about anybody I have ever met in my life, I'm going to put a little bit of fudge in there. Yeah, Jen, you should ask him. I'll put a little bit of fudge in there as well, just a little bit, and then mix it around, and he'll have about 5 of those. A Black Russian with a little fudge for Adam Ronis, or chocolate syrup. Non-alcoholic. Since Adam Ronis loves dessert so much, why not get him a chocolate milkshake? Can you just picture it, Jen? Us sitting there in a Dairy Queen or whatever, just having a nice chocolate milkshake, arguing about whatever is on the mind. Adam Ronis is a very literal person, Jen. So you can just say, the sky is blue, and he'll be like, oh, there's 2 clouds in the sky, because he's so literal. So with that, I can just see us enjoying some nice, very chocolatey milkshakes together, because that is Adam Ronis, and he loves dessert more than anyone I've ever met.
I love that. I want to come to that party too. I want to sit at the malt shop and have a chocolate shake.
Hell yeah. We'll have a good time. I love milkshakes. Not as much as Adam Ronis. He really loves milkshakes.
Now, Justin only has milkshakes on Saturdays. The rest of the time, he has turkey bacon and egg whites, just to be clear.
That's right. I have not had a milkshake in the longest time, Jen. I haven't had soda in the longest time.
I haven't either. I was telling someone that yesterday. I think it's been more than 10 years since I've had a soda, at least.
10 years. Wow. See, Jen, I'm a soda addict. You put an entire cold 2-liter of Coca-Cola in front of me, that thing will be gone within an hour.
Yeah. No, I once I quit it, it didn't taste good again. So,
Jen, for all those who might be soda addicts, I know my time might be up, but instead of having that soda, a soda substitute for me that's helped me still get that soda taste, seltzer and Mio. You just spray a little bit of Mio water in seltzer, and you get that blue raspberry soda taste, and it feeds my craving. There's no sugar or anything like that. Maybe a small bit of artificial flavoring, but it's just a little spritz. That's it. It's mostly seltzer. 0 calories.
Friends, where else can you get this kind of information? Nowhere but Fantasy Alarm. So you guys, thank you so much, Justin Fensterman. You guys out there, don't forget to tune in to Alarm After Hours, because if you had fun today in this short half hour we spent, you have no idea how much fun you could be having every night between 12 a.m. and 2 a.m. Eastern time when Justin is driving the bus, and it is absolutely a blast. By the way, be sure you follow us on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, and even on Twitch. We're going to keep coming at you with lots of goofy and informative sports content. We hope you've all had an awesome day. I'm Jen Piacenti. He's Justin Fensterman, and we will catch you next time.
Ducks fly together.